Hey, good morning. Scott Center, one of the campus pastors for Blue Oaks. Got a question for you. Have you ever been rescued from something? It's an amazing thing when you are. I was thinking about several years ago, I had a tough Saturday schedule and it was really tight. I was coaching a couple basketball games, but I needed to do a wedding ceremony. And so I planned to take all my stuff to the wedding ceremony and change there because I was really on a tight schedule. So when I got there, I realized that I had forgotten my suit pants. And I was in a panic. My wife was in another state, and the round trip would have been an hour, and it was only 30 minutes till the ceremony. So I got on the phone, I called a friend, I said, you gotta help me, you gotta go up to my house, go up to my room and get my suit pants. So one of my friends dropped everything, put her kids in the car, ran to our house, got my suit pants, ran them up to where I was doing the ceremony, and I literally was buckling myself up as the wedding party was going down the aisle. I cannot tell you the sense of relief that I felt, and so glad someone stepped in. There's this great story in John chapter 8 where Jesus is rescuing someone. There was this lady that was found in the very act of adultery, the Bible says. And the religious leaders of the day took her in front of Jesus and said to him, hey, this woman was caught in the very act of adultery. The law of Moses says to stone her to death. What do you say? Now, first of all, where's the guy if she was actually caught in the act of adultery? So there's some hypocrisy going on in there. But what is amazing is what happens in the next few moments. And this is what the Bible tells us. So in John 8, verses 7 through 11, it says this. It says, they kept demanding an answer. So he stood up and said, all right, but let the one who has never sinned throw the first stone. Then he stooped down again and wrote in the dust. When the accusers heard this, they slipped away one by one, beginning with the oldest, until only Jesus was left in the middle of the crowd with the woman. Then Jesus stood up again and said to the woman, where are your accusers? Didn't even one of them condemn you? No, Lord, she said. And Jesus said, neither do I. Go and sin no more. Now, what's fascinating about this moment is that Jesus actually rescues her from three separate things. The first one is the humiliation of the moment. Imagine being her, thrown in front of everybody, your sin goes public. Imagine what she must have been feeling at that moment. Jesus does something masterful. He stoops down, the Bible says, and he starts doodling in the ground. Now, no one knows what he's doing in the ground, but what is really fascinating is by him stooping to the ground, he's taking the attention off of her and putting it on himself. This is a picture of the cross. Jesus takes the attention of God's wrath of our sin off of us, and he puts it on himself. The second thing he rescues her from is the consequence of her sin. The people left. They dropped the stones that they were going to throw at her and left. He literally saved her physical life in that moment. The last one is equally as important. He saves her from her own shame. Notice she doesn't protest her sentence in this story. She doesn't argue or even plead for mercy. She knows who she is. She knows what she's done. Her own shame is almost welcoming the sentence. But Jesus says, who condemns you? She says, no one, sir. And he says the most powerful words. He says, neither do I. Now go and sin no more. In other words, I'm not just going to free you from the consequence of your sin, but I'm not going to count it against you at all. Now go and have a new life. This is the beauty about Christ in our lives, is that he rescues us from so many things. So I have two questions for you to consider today. The first one is of gratitude. What has God rescued me from that I need to just say thank you for? Spend some time in prayer. Reminisce about the old life and reminisce about what God has done to bring you into the new life. The second thing is maybe there's something God needs to rescue from right now. He's willing, he's able, and he's standing at the door to do that.